Jodi, we heard from President Biden that he wants to talk about Taiwan, about trade with President Xi. Could we expect anything substantive here?
Well, Sherry, they're really lowering expectations for this meeting. They're not calling it a summit. They're basically saying that it's really what we call a setting the rules of the road kind of meeting, where they're both going to try to understand a little bit what the other side wants. There is not even going to be a joint statement afterwards, which is usually typical in these kinds of meetings, but they're saying it really is just a chance to almost chat about what they both think are important issues for them. Taiwan obviously will figure in this, but they're also going to try to kind of put a floor on the bad relations that the two sides have had recently to stop them from deteriorating even further.
Jodi, when it comes to what we're hearing from US officials, what seems to be the main objective here?
Yeah, so I think the main objective is to just meet. They're both going to be there at the G20 and to try to at least show that the two sides are trying to have some kind of conversations. Obviously, Taiwan will be part of this. We haven't heard exactly what the president will be saying. Jake Sullivan, one of his national security advisors, said that he's not going to really forecast that too much, that he should have those talks, and then the administration will talk about what this means with the Taiwan policy. But they also want to talk about, the Biden administration wants to talk about North Korea's recent military activity, about the war in Ukraine, and about climate change. Those are on its agenda. We haven't really heard what the Chinese side wants to talk about in this meeting.
Obviously, Taiwan is going to be key in these conversations, particularly as President Biden's recent comments really, vowing to stand firm with Taiwan. How does that play into the dynamic of the meeting, I wonder?
Yeah, officials have been telling us that they don't think that President Biden intends to stand necessarily by recent statements that the U.S. would basically take military action if Taiwan was attacked. But at the same time, he is expected to stand firm on the U.S. willingness to stand by Taiwan, to go beyond what had been that strategic ambivalence doctrine that the administrations have stood by in recent years. So we think that he will stand up for Taiwan. Of course, his statements recently have provoked real concern in China. And of course, Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker's visit there this year, really angered China and further led to deterioration in relations between U.S. and China. So it's seeming that he doesn't want to provoke President Xi Jinping in this discussion, but at the same time, we expect that President Biden is going to remain resolute in the U.S. willingness to stand by Taiwan. The way he says that will, of course, be very interesting and will be parsed by everyone, but no joint statement afterwards. So we're not exactly going to be able to be sure what exactly was said by the two leaders.